and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
Justin DeClue.
And Colin Cunningham. I was trying to come up with something, but it's just the new year. We don't have to anymore.
Yeah, you're out of it. You are not
Christmas.
Beholden to making a funny name for yourself. Or not making a funny name, going, oh, I didn't remember to make a name.
No.
Remember, it's 2025, people. We're in that... phantom zone in between well, it's after New Year's, but it's in between Christmas and before we all return to work, so I don't know what's happening anymore.
What are you talking about? Don't people return to work after New Year's?
Yeah, well, it was a week. Some people are today, but it was a week because New Year's was in the middle of the week. I wouldn't know because I'm a freelancer and I'm not
living the high life.
The
rules don't matter to you.
Yeah, I remember having to go back into work every time between Christmas and New Year's and being like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to have extra time off. But yeah, so I hope everyone had a great holiday. And now it's the new year. And so we're starting the new year off with a long overdue Patreon pick from our patron, whose name is Patrick Q. So he requested Absolute Aggression from 1996. Do you want to hear his little write-up on it?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
A confusing straight-to-VHS action movie. I think this is straight to TV. Oh, I could be wrong. Anyway, sorry, that was me. A confusing straight-to-VHS action movie that feels like it's made out of leftover bits of other movies.
Yes.
It's
he would be correct.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's basically Hunger Games in VR, but with a twist. If you die in the game, you die in real life. And it's also a bit like The Matrix, except instead of alien pods full of goop, people are laying on some wire shelving from Home Depot.
Yeah.
And at one point,
this is the, as I like to call it, the uncomfortable industrial bathtub version of VR.
It's that, but yeah, there's like laundry tubs. And it's sleazy, embarrassing, barely coherent, and it's only 90 minutes long.
Oh,
so
it felt
nice.
much longer than that.
It really
So
did.
this movie started, and I was like, have I seen this? No, what I saw was the film that was shot at the same time, Cyber Vengeance, from the same director, where Robert Davi plays the same character, but I don't believe anyone else comes. Maybe they do? Yes, I would say the Cyber Vengeance probably has a bigger budget. Like Absolute Aggression feels kind of like the scraps of Cyber Vengeance.
Yeah, it feels like at moments that you're looking at other movies, you're like,
Clips
okay,
from other
this makes
movies.
no sense. Like what? This, to save money. The movie has no budget, by the way.
So the directors of this, they had a production company who made a movie I actually really like called Blue Vengeance from 1989, and they somehow convinced Glickenhaus Shapiro, who were a VHS distribution company, to give them money to make movies, like action films, and they would go and shoot them guerrilla style with a team of 5 people on 35 millimeter, shooting at places like the Brooklyn Bridge or having like gunfights in like the New York subway without any
like permits or anything.
Or anything like that. Now, I think that also puts them in a weird middle zone where shooting on 35 and expecting a certain like level of craft means that you don't have the kind of kineticism of something like El Mariachi.
Yeah.
And like the end point is something like Absolute Aggression, where you're like, all right, how do we give all the elements that the distributors want, but let's make sure it's not too exciting. I mean, that's a side effect, not a goal, but...
Yeah, like on paper, it has all the elements.
I mean, if you explain this on paper, you're like, oh, so it's like The Matrix and Top Gun and The Patriot and, I don't know, some medieval movies as well.
Yeah, it's like throw it in. We've got everything. Some World War II.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have like as much like weird, funny parts as like a something like Razor Sharp, which is like a no budget. Well, it's a martial arts movie.
Yeah, it's really fun and entertaining.
It sometimes feels like watching home movie footage of your friend at a Renaissance fair.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's fun, but like nothing really funny is happening on screen.
Even cheaper than that, though. It's like I turned to April during the medieval scenes and I'm like, this looks worse than a Renaissance fair. Like those people.
Well, I mean, that's where they got all of their, like these two movies, Cyber Vengeance and Absolute Aggression. I think they figured out like, oh, we know all these places we can go and film. We don't need to really connect it in any way to what's happening. I will say the actors do interact with a lot of these, well, some of them, which is a step over of what I thought it was going to be, which is you just see like them on black being like, look at what's going on over there.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to like footage of a Renaissance.
They're in these spaces, but it's just like, it's a woods with one like stone wall.
Okay. And I want to say that this, one of the most amazing things about this movie are the posters. They are so Robert Davi forward.
Oh my
God. If, like, the people making the and there's multiple posters, and it's all Robert Davi's gigantic face. It's like, you're like, you know what sells? Davi. We love Davi.
He's barely in the movie.
He is like, they had him for a day.
They had him on his way to doing his Frank Sinatra concert because he's dressed like he's on the way there.
Yeah, he's wearing like a full like tuxedo,
smoking
black tie, smoking a cigar, and he's sitting in a chair most of the time.
Yeah, and he's just in the same sets, and then they keep like cutting away and like doing things, and then they like, come back here, I need to talk to you. And then he just has another like exposition scene. He does very, very little in this. I think he puts on a VR helmet at one point to watch the games.
A lot of it. And he has like a big cigar like you like to do when you're doing VR.
Yeah,
something that I thought a lot about watching this movie is that like I think a lot of the people in the movie don't know what they're reacting to.
Exactly.
And this is underlined later on where there's this crowd that's watching the VR. And they're like, woo! And there's one particular sequence where I'm like, and even Robert Davi, it cuts to him being like,
like,
why are you reacting that way to what you were seeing?
It's a real, I don't have the term, but you know, like the Russian, the effect.
The Kuleshov effect.
Kuleshov effect.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a very high praise for this movie.
So wait, the movie starts, and I got to say right away, what amazing font on this movie. They got some Amiga computers, and they're like, look what we can do.
And the credits are like endless. They go into the first scene, and they just don't stop.
This is a movie that definitely has a contractually mandated 90-minute running time.
Yeah.
And you can tell because the end credits are not only long, but they do the like featuring, and then it's like the actor.
Yeah, they show footage from the film.
Yeah, just in case you forgot who was who.
Who's who, yeah. This was Davi. The director is John Christian. I don't know it's like J.C. Ingvarsson or something.
Ingvarsson?
Yeah, and he plays one of the bad guys in this movie, Dietrich.
I mean, he's really the bad guy. Like, Robert Davi does so little.
He's sort of the mastermind. I don't even think you see what happens to Robert Davi in the end. Is it?
I don't no.
Nothing happens to him.
He just.
I even went back to see if like, something happens to him. He's like, hey, I don't want to get the suit dirty.
Yeah. Well, and then our other German bad guy. Were they leaving it open for a sequel because he just like goes off the side of the building and like you don't see him die?
Well, you can imply it. There's a lot of that where people do things and you just hear the result, like, oh, I'm gonna stab him with a sword, and it's just like cut to a reaction shot of the crowd going, ooh.
But yeah, like there's a big info dump at the beginning that explains like what the games are. And I mean, there's a guy that gets arrested, and it's just like it's just what you think. It's like, you know, a futuristic society where people are arrested on bogus charges and they get put in jail, but it's like a VR jail. But then some of them get put into the games, which is like the Hunger Games.
And it's also kind of like the Running Man. There's some of that as well.
Because they're prisoners.
The Running Man, they would broadcast it on these gigantic TVs for people in the cities to watch. And
but we need to be clear as well. This is very convolutedly presented to the point I'm like, who's the main character?
And a lot of the main characters kind of look the same. It's like our hero. Our hero kind of looks the same as Valentine, which is one of the bad guys.
And he also looks like the German guy.
Yeah, I can never tell them apart.
Was big back then. You can't judge him for that. Is that what it's called?
What is it?
Brush cut?
Yeah, brush cut.
Yeah, it's like
I like how it starts 2011 AD. Thanks for clearing that up.
Right away, opening shot. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty cool angle. It's like looking up at the skyscraper.
Oh, you get me. Yeah, wide angle lens. Even though that, because it's on VHS, it's not properly matted, so you can see the bend of the lens in the corner.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's what I like.
It's fine. It's like, you know, let's not bother showing the city, because then we'd have to do some visual effects to make the city look futuristic. So we'll find this one building, we'll just look straight up at it. And then this guy like lights up a cigarette, and then the cop comes in. It's very awkwardly shot and acted. The cop's like, you're in violation of the Clean Air Act. And then they start chasing him. The cops don't even look like they have outfits on, like uniforms.
They have like helmets and batons.
And I don't think they match either. It's just
they don't. One of them is wearing a balaclava. Do you think he forgot his outfit at home? He's like, oh shit, what can I wear?
The costumes are really cheap.
And very random.
They're not like suburban Sasquatch cheap, but like I saw like better costumes like in the gang, like in like the instructor. Like they don't even have like chainmail in the medieval scenes.
So this opening where a guy gets arrested for not paying his taxes for 3 years is unrelated to anything that you see in the rest of the movie.
I was like waiting for that guy to show up.
No. And then, listen, filmmakers, don't do this. Do not cut to a bunch of footage that is so stock footage that everyone is like, oh, well, this is clearly a cheap movie because look at all the stock footage.
Stock footage and stock music.
Yeah, it's like, so they do the kind of RoboCop thing where it's like presented by the newscaster.
Okay, and did you notice there's the credits like starring Robert Davi? And I was like, is this in the context of the newscast? So is Robert Davi playing himself?
He's like some, I don't know, billionaire like tech genius or something that's created this virtual reality prison. Mm-hmm. So it's like a huge info dump. So the government is like taking guns away from people. They start incarcerating people for minor offenses, and they're running out of room in the prison. So they just start executing people. But then they found out that it's more entertaining to make people watch these games so they can be entertained and not
raises morale.
Yeah, and it gives them something positive to do with their lives, watching people die on TV.
Instead of focusing on the wealth disparity.
Yeah, exactly.
And by people, we mean the 20 people that they keep cutting back throughout the 90 minutes. They got one angle of them looking up.
They're just looking up, cheering for something.
Some of them look like medieval people, but I guess they're supposed to be post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's very random costumes. It's like they had a ton of costumes just in a big garbage bin, and they're like, oh yeah, just grab something and, make your own costume.
And like some of them are reacting big and some are reacting really small.
Yeah, so they just set up the one camera. They had them for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and they're like, they zoomed in, so there's like some pans across the crowd.
Yeah. It's like, cheer, now boo.
Yeah,
okay, now
exactly.
cheer again.
And they're watching this
What are we watching?
It doesn't matter.
Nothing that would shame you if family members learned about it.
Really. But they keep cheering the tagline of the movie, which is "Die in the game, die in life," which is bad.
So the thing about this of like die in the game, die in life.
Yeah.
It should be clarified. It's not like the Matrix where you like keel over dead.
Exactly.
You then wake up from the VR and you are given a lethal injection.
Yeah. So also die in life kind of makes no sense. But yeah, it's like, why even have it? I don't know.
I just want to talk about some trivia on this movie. It says, a sequel to Cyber Vengeance, the movie that I mentioned, though some viewers believe this movie to be a loose remake. I mean, that's either true or not.
Some people believe it is.
Yeah. It says, helpful to people. So, if it helps somebody.
It's just weird. It's like, why even bother with the virtual reality anyway? Like, just have them fight in a pit. Like,
I think
because they want to explain the production value that they get from going to the Renaissance Fair and Colonial Village.
They wanted to use that like sliders CGI effect.
It's very
portal thing.
It's almost like Time Cop.
That CGI effect. I will say that like, from the get-go, the film is very video game coded. You can tell that the people who made this have been playing a lot of like Wolfenstein and stuff, because there's like exposition given on elevators. There's POV shots of the guns as they fire them. They're also introduced slowly being wheeled out of an elevator in a bin. Just like
that was
nonchalantly
funny.
Gun guys.
We meet our two like leads, and I was like, because I thought they were really bad in that scene, but they get better later as far as like acting ability. But like,
I guess basically there's some rebels that are think what Robert Davi's doing is evil, so they are rescuing the prisoners before they get sent to this virtual prison.
Yeah,
and the prisoners are just shown here being wheeled around in a gigantic like laundry hamper.
Yeah.
Pretending to be drugged out.
Watching this, I was like, oh man, I love warehouses. I wish I had another warehouse to shoot in a movie. This one's not too big. The ceilings are a little low, but you know what? I'd take it. There's a bunch of like pallets you can hide behind.
Sure, there's stuff you can do, but by the end of the movie, man,
are there no squibs in this movie? I don't think so.
No, I guess it's just about to say this. The gunfights are just not that interesting.
No,
and
it's very like firing and then someone going, oh,
yeah, and there's
no back and
there's
forth.
not really martial arts. There's a couple scenes where some people try and do martial arts, but
a bit of martial arts that took me aback, and I wish it was more weird stuff like that in the movie.
Yeah.
Like how sped up it was.
No, it's the person doing it was very surprising, especially in the situation that it happened.
Oh, okay.
Very quick. Maybe you missed it. Yeah, so this gunfight, like, people need to figure out, and I mean, I'm telling these filmmakers from 1996 shooting something for probably like $50,000. You need some storytelling in your action scenes. It can't just be like firing back and forth. That's boring.
Yeah,
no one likes that.
It's literally just like random shots of people,
Yes.
just like pulling the trigger and just like waving.
If
the gun
I had
around.
to take a guess, that's probably how they shot it, right? Like, oh, we'll fix it in the edit. Let's just get this shot, and
they probably didn't have multiple takes, like
just like endlessly shooting, from behind cover and nothing happening.
Boring. What am I playing? Gears of War? No, thank you. Give me Max Payne 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
get me in VR so we can do some jousting. At least it's
Wait,
different.
can we point out that? So at one point they put on the VR helmet, and you see there's an acronym on the front of it.
Yes,
it's like
headgear, and I was like, what could that possibly be for?
But they all have different logos. Like one says,
do they?
Yeah, one says like FX1 or VFX1.
Yeah,
so it's like
it's H.E.A. So I'm like, is it holographic entertainment adventure dungeon great entertainment avatar replicator?
It is, yeah.
I use entertainment twice. No one can stop me.
Everybody has. Those are actual like VR helmets that they have. They're just different manufacturers, and it's all they could get.
Wait, did they have VR like in the 90s?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I remember having a book about designing VR worlds
Yeah.
in the 90s that I got at some used like bookstore, and I
Yeah,
was like,
I remember-
it came with a CD to do it, and
Yeah.
I didn't have any VR technology, but man, I read that book.
Yeah, you could do it in the 80s. I remember going to the world of Commodore when the Commodore Amiga was big, and you could like spend 5 minutes
World
in
of
the
Commodore.
It was like a kind of trade show they would have every year up at the some convention center by the airport or something, and it would be like, oh, the latest Amiga. They even had like a theme song. And then they had like a VR booth you could go into and like put on the headset and like kind of walk around this like very rudimentary like VR.
I want to do the yard work simulator. Sorry. Yeah, so this movie
Wait, but I
reminded
feel
me...
like we've had this quick conversation before, but have you guys ever gotten into VR?
No.
No, I
Yes.
tried it on once and it
You know what?
made
I
me
remember
ill.
because Colin talked about walking on the edge, and he was like, "Oh, it's too scary."
Oh,
Yeah,
the
you
platform
did
game,
that
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
We're a bad movie podcast. Like, we're going to talk about VR because movies deal with it all the
just
time.
They
Cannot get people to. People will only accept VR if it's cheap. That's all. That's the only way they'll do it, and they cannot do that.
I just don't want to like set up all that shit in my room.
Nobody does.
Some people are doing it, but
no
I know
one's
some
using
people
Apple
who-
Vision Pro. Do you know anyone who has an
Well,
Apple Vision
no,
Pro?
no.
Not one person. Like
It is right now $5,800.
Like that's insane.
It's like useless.
but like, can you use that to play like VR PlayStation games?
No. You cannot interact with your. No, if you want to play VR PlayStation games, you get your PlayStation 2,
VR.
which is also $500, I think.
Well, that's better than 5,000.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, that
But hey, with the Apple Vision Pro, you get 45 minutes of battery, and you have to carry it around with you in your pocket.
That's it? Oh,
Yeah,
my
you don't get very
God.
long.
so stupid. And like people are watching movies on it. It's like God almighty.
Let me look. Well, I guess the Apple Vision Pro battery, it's $279, and it lasts, 2 hours.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
So
that's probably like an
almost a
hour,
movie.
right?
So if you're on a plane, you could watch one movie.
And then people around you are like, look at that guy.
Yeah, look at that weirdo.
Well, the thing is, I remember getting an Oculus Quest really cheap.
Yeah.
And what I put it on, I was like, I can't wait to go to the world of, wow, it really looks not good. And I looked it up online, and it's like, yeah, they can't figure out this barn door effect, which gives like things a haze. And it's been like that like forever VR.
Oh,
I was
God.
like, what?
You probably get used to it, I think, but oh my
I
God.
guess it just, it didn't feel very nice. It's too heavy. You get sweaty. They have not figured out that solution yet.
Did I tell you when my friend was playing it? I might have mentioned this. He was playing Alien Isolation on VR in his basement.
Oh, too scary.
Really scary game, but you're hiding all the time and just like sweating.
And he was like hiding himself.
He was hiding himself, and then his wife came down to tell him that dinner was ready and touched his shoulder.
Oh no!
And he just like
shit his pants
and like flailed his arms and smacked her in the face by accident.
Like, try explaining that at the emergency room.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in VR and someone put my hand on my shoulders and it was too scary.
Sir, you need to come with us.
Yeah, that would be so disorienting.
I would love something that I could watch, like a giant screen that I could put on my head. And I know there's like display goggles and stuff like that you can get that don't have UIs, but like there's not a normalized version of it. Like I don't want to have to buy like a $500 like Russian thing that probably barely works. Like
I just don't want to get into that sort of thing. Somebody was playing with one at work and they're like, "Hey, you want to try it on?" I'm like, no.
I don't want to put something.
What if I get lost?
I want to put something
on
my
What if I
head.
end up in Robert Davi's virtual prison?
Like I have enough like neck problems from being on a computer or a phone. That would be terrible, and it would probably mess up my hair.
You could just lie down. Oh, and we'd be talking about that. April, did you see April's hair?
Yeah, just lie down. Yeah. And just like a nightmare future.
How about
just people...
guys? How about you lie down and close your eyes and imagine a movie yourself?
We're all Wallies.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, we're not Wally. That'd be the robot. We're
the big babies in
big babies.
Wally.
Do you remember? It was like that. God, it was a funny quote from James Cameron, and he was saying it was something like, "Oh, do you listen to music or watch like movies? Do you have any VR or something?" He's like, "Nope, I don't need it." And then he points to his head, and he's like, "It's my imagination. It's got the highest. It's got the highest resolution and the best bit rate for like audio."
Honestly, good for him because yes, like. Hey, I'm into technology too, obviously. We just bought a new television. I love it. And we got, headphones.
Did James Cameron follow that up with like, I'm also blind and deaf. Have you seen how the Avatar films look like?
But yeah, like guys, how about you sit down and think and put your phones down and or read a
April
fucking book.
She's like, what did that American right wing? He's like, less TikTok, more right o'clock.
I don't know. I don't know that.
Oh God! I could just picture James Cameron at home, like sitting on his couch.
It's like he's pointing to his head.
Honey,
like,
what are you doing?
1080p.
Baby, I'm watching a movie.
What was that like?
He's just sitting on the
trend
couch.
People were doing. It's like I'm raw dogging this flight, just staring off into space.
Oh God!
I actually
the whole flight.
saw like something online the other day. It was like my son, when he was younger, was so obsessed with Shrek that he memorized it, and so when he would go to bed at night, he would just watch it in his head. So it would be like, "Hey, honey, what part are you at?" And he would just sit there and play an entire movie in his head. And is that amazing or scary?
That would be James Cameron.
That's scary.
The power of the
because you know that
brain.
person is doing sex, like Shrek sex stuff afterwards, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm watching the latest cut of the new Avatar, baby. Hold on.
Now with the child, I'm looking forward to like I'm putting this on. Oh, I'm tired. I'm just gonna put it on. Will this activate them and scar them for life?
Well, I mean, not right now, because you.
No, not right now. But that's what I'm saying. Like later on, once they become conscious of like let me just throw on. I don't know, Robin Hood.
Absolute
Robin
aggression.
Hood? Yeah, I'm a Frank Sinatra fan.
Ooh.
Robert Davi.
I love Robert Davi. There's some PG-13 rated R stuff in this movie.
Oh boy, are there? There's boobs galore.
And I ask this question like probably every 3 weeks, but like. People will answer me sometimes of like, what are kids obsessed with now that television isn't a monoculture? Mm-hmm. And like, I asked a friend who has a kid and he said, yeah, they don't really have like that many shared interests at school. Like they're all kind of in their own corners.
They're all into their own things. Well, I mean, like my nieces still love like unicorns. Like, and
how old is she?
Well, they're 3, 5, and 7, but they all like unicorns. But I'm just saying, there's certain things that like are I think.
But I mean, like pop culture, like I guess Disney stuff probably because that.
Well, I found out that my oldest niece loves Beyblade. We were talking about that recently.
Oh, Beyblade X is out. Wait, we were talking about this on the podcast.
Yeah, I forget what. Wait, I forget what episode.
What's Beyblade?
It's back.
It's that spinning top
now.
thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Paw Patrol.
And they're supposed to be good now.
Paw Patrol.
Yeah, Paw Patrol. They love Paw Patrol. But yeah, I mean, like, there's more stuff, so it's not going to be like
be a
when
cop.
we were a
No!
kid. When we were a kid, it was like Ninja Turtles or like.
I mean, it's still Ninja Turtles.
My Little Pony.
Like I went to Shoppers and like on the bottle of shampoo, it's like the '80s Ninja Turtles.
Whoa, they're back.
And I'm like, let the kids have new things, please.
No. My culture is always going to be.
How is Ninja Turtles I love the Ninja Turtles. They rule. It's so funny that they're like, well, we decided the Ninja Turtle is just going to be one of the things that keep coming back. Like,
it makes money.
I know.
Robert
but
Eggers'
it's like
Nosferatu shampoo.
Yeah. Why don't we have Cowboys of Moo Mesa on my shampoo bottle?
Is that,
or Street
is that
Sharks?
an anime?
They're back. Yeah, Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Oh.
Yeah, it was an animated show.
Oh, okay.
And guess what?
I don't know that one.
They were cows.
They were cows.
Moo Mesa.
Who made them? It was probably some. There was some sexy lady cows too. So you had stuff for the whole family.
Big udders.
Biker Mice from Mars. Who can forget that?
And I did watch some Street Sharks.
Yeah.
I do
Bad
not
show.
know this cow show.
Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
I must have missed that.
The Masked.
It's so funny that like what the people tuned into is like, I guess they like animals. Like, is that what they like?
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause we can't really do ninjas. Oh man, Biker Mice from Mars keeps getting rebooted as well. There's a very kind of like leather daddy thing to these biker mice.
Well, in the 90s,
Definitely an activation thing.
everything had to be extreme. Okay, let's just talk about this movie again. What did you guys think of the lead? I thought he was kind of like Casper Van Dien meets the guy from the Albert Pune Captain America.
He's very bland.
Oh, how dare you you
What
sully
was that
Matt
guy?
Salinger's
Matt
name.
Salinger, yeah.
Yeah. Son of J.D. Salinger.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I didn't think that he was actually that bad. He's not great, though. He's pretty bland.
Well, just the fact that I couldn't tell the difference between him and the bad guy's lackey.
Yeah.
The bad guy is Dietrich, the wheelchair
We didn't
bound-
mention he's also the director.
Yes.
So
think
the
we
director is
may have
in
mentioned
this
that.
movie. Oh,
He
maybe
is-
we did.
He
Sorry.
is so bad.
He's doing this outrageous German accent. Maybe
He's the one
he
in the
is
neck
German.
brace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except when he's in the game, and then no neck
So
brace.
yeah, he's shot in the opening scene where our heroes kind of rescue these prisoners.
Yeah, but then
I-
our hero, what is his name? His name is like
Couldn't even tell
Wild Man or something.
I don't think it's Wild Man.
It's some kind of generic name. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, we'll vamp. What other Street Sharks ripoff were
His
they?
name is Will Singleton.
That's the character's name.
Oh wait, hang on. I think it is. I think it's Singleton because I was thinking of the director, Singleton.
John Christian.
John Singleton?
John Singleton, yeah. I
Oh.
believe his name's Will.
Okay.
And his friend is Stu.
Stu. Will and Stu. Okay, so yeah, he fends off the bad guys. He's like, Stu, get out of here. Dietrich is shot. Stu, what is it? Will is captured.
And it
then
cuts to 1 year
1
later.
year later. Robert Davi talking to Dietrich, who is now in a wheelchair. And I guess like Dietrich and Valentine, his buddy, are hunters that Robert Davi sends into the VR game to fight the prisoners. And he's like, the two of them are
And
like
this is
his top hunters.
entertainment for the group of people we see watching the monitor.
But they're still watching the monitor a year later. It's the same group.
Yeah.
They're very dedicated.
Same arrangement, wearing the exact same clothes.
And yeah, so it's almost like, well, first of all, Robert Davi seemingly hates Dietrich, and yet he works for him. So, but he's like, why doesn't he just quit? I don't know.
He's in a
Well,
way.
no, he would be killed.
So
he's a prisoner.
He's a
Yeah,
prisoner too. The German
yeah,
guy.
I guess kind of.
Oh, no, Dietrich?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
he
sorry,
created the VR.
It's unsure. I
think.
he's just an assassin that Robert Davi hires to fight prisoners.
But he's like an evil genius.
well, genius. I don't know. But
And he loved
you
using
can tell. He's smart.
loved using the rape program.
yeah, he what?
The rape program?
The rape program.
Did you
I think he mentions
fall
it at one
asleep
point.
during that
Yeah.
whole backstory of
It
of
was
the
so
female?
shocking that he just
Oh my
fell
God.
unconscious.
I blocked it
He
out of my mind.
so
You know-
she's like she was captured off the street and there was like, oh, it was a sex program, and she goes, no, it was a rape program, and 3 times a day I
Oh,
had to
God.
be put into this thing, and Dietrich was one of the guys that would rape her, in VR. That was a whole subplot that you missed.
Oh, that's the woman that
The
comes
blonde
to,
woman.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember
Okay,
her
okay.
name. Yeah.
So
Robert-
we jump to the first game here. We're in medieval land. Won't be the last time either.
Sure.
Yeah, they
and
go back there.
These costumes,
They're
man,
really bad.
This is something that you'd make for like a high school
Well,
Like, play.
it's what they were probably wearing at the medieval fair.
Yeah, but they don't even have metal helmets. They're rubber.
No,
Yeah,
they don't have
everything
anything
just
else.
looks like
look rubber.
Yeah, it just looks like
or
spray painted cardboard. And then they're supposed to be wearing like chainmail.
It's the medieval fair. They joust.
They joust.
They
sure.
do joust, which is something, I guess. And they keep cutting to like a crowd in the game. Like, are those real people? Are because they never say that there's like holograms. So I'm assuming everyone is like a prisoner or something.
Do they ever talk about AI?
They do.
At one point they mentioned it, and she's like, "I'm not AI, I'm real."
Yeah, Davi sends that girl in to as a reward.
And he's like, "You're
for
not
Will.
real." Okay.
He's like, "You're not real." So there must be like AI characters, I guess.
But one of the guys in this joust, he loses, and then we cut to him waking up in the uncomfortable bathtub. Hey, maybe that's how they fix the VR problem. If your back is in so much pain from sitting there, then the weight of the helmet won't bother you so much.
Yeah, it's a gigantic setup too. It's like this big
And they give him a
360
lethal injection, and the crowd is loving this. They're like, "Woo!
die in life.
Yeah. It's much like Roman gladiators,
Oh wait, isn't our hero called or one of them Montgomery Valentine? Because I was like, that's
Montgomery
funny.
Valentine
Valentine
is the lackey guy.
Yes.
Yes.
He's Dietrich's henchman. He's got that second guy, but he looks exactly like the lead
does.
actor. And I could never tell them apart.
Yeah, I mean, he's tall and got the same blonde.
He's got the
haircut.
Howie Long,
Yeah.
flat top, haircut.
Yeah, but yeah, so he sends a woman into. First of all, it's VR, but it's a prison cell. It's just a prison cell.
So
it's very. This whole
So is he
concept's
pissing in?
confusing.
Does he have a catheter in? Probably, right?
I guess.
I guess what in the real world? In
In the real world,
in
yeah.
his tub?
Or is that why he's in the tub? Because he's just pissing and shitting all over the place?
Yeah, so it's
That makes sense.
I don't know, spending all this energy, just keeping him in VR in just a normal prison cell.
So there's two versions of VR though, because there's the bathtub VR,
Yeah.
and then he's put on a
There's a chair.
U-line wire fence, like a shelf.
Well, yeah, there's
Yeah.
a shelf, but there's a lawnmower man chair too.
Yeah,
Remember
there is,
that?
with joysticks and stuff on it.
It's almost like they had stuff from several different movies and just filmed
Glued them
what
all
they
together.
could.
You know what it probably was? It was leftover things from a Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. This was
It's like a Spirit Halloween closing down, and there's a bunch of shelves left.
yeah, and there's a big kind of VR chair that you sit in because it had joysticks and buttons on it. It was some
Yeah.
arcade game, and I guarantee you they borrowed them or rented them from some arcade. Probably
So-
from the
Or they
world
just shot
of
in the
Commodore.
basement of an arcade.
Well, so Robert Davi is watching this. He's either talking to somebody in a dark
Robert
room
Davi is
or
almost
watching a
always in
screen.
VR.
Yeah.
And he's smoking, and he's wearing a suit.
No, he's not in VR. He's in the
No,
real-
no.
He's
he
always
is VR.
watching.
Oh, he's
on the
wearing
Watching
it.
in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
he's
can
never
watch it.
present in the VR
Yeah.
simulation.
But yeah, so he sends a woman
because that would
into
involve him
prison.
having to go to another location.
Location.
Yeah,
yes.
or wear a different costume.
Yeah.
So he sends a woman in and he's like, "Yeah, you're not real." And she goes, "I am real. I'm a prisoner too. I was."
Oh, I
just
love her.
sent
She's
here."
like, "Hey, I'm Vicky," and then she starts taking her top off so unenthusiastically.
Yeah, she's like, "I was sent here to give you pleasure," and he's like, "Give me pleasure or give him pleasure?"
Yeah.
which
Killing,
is true.
Fucking, we're all whores for Crowley.
Yeah. So then they start having sex, and they
Okay.
cut to the crowd.
This is my favorite part because
Yeah.
they don't. So, well, I guess this is technically sex, but he takes her top off, and the crowd is losing their mind.
They
They're
go,
like,
Yeah. Ooh. And Crowley, Robert Davi, is also like, yeah.
He's watching.
yeah, Crowley's watching too. And what's great about this is that our hero is like, listen, it's not about my pleasure, it's your pleasure. And he goes down on her. And the crowd
Yeah.
is like, woo!
Well, I mean, that was very nice of him. You
Yeah,
know?
very nice
But
of him.
also, it's like he's really
Yeah, because he
pissed
goes,
off.
I'll give him a show.
Yeah. Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you think Davi's jacking it? It cuts to him kind of
Yes.
smiling and smoking a cigar, but that's clearly made up of footage from earlier.
Yeah. This movie reuses so many reaction shots of him.
This is my favorite part because it's a clear example. No one knows that they're reacting to a guy going down on a woman.
No.
It's just whatever. You're home.
You're
your
happy.
Home football
Yay!
team won. Yeah.
So we didn't mention some important cast members. For example, we have some hackers that are trying
Yeah.
to break them out.
Yeah. So this is was it Will's friend Stu and his little group of hackers? But it's 3 people.
Yeah. There's
This is
not very many of them.
This whole movie is we had this warehouse and we're shooting in other rooms that Robert Davi is currently not occupying.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we're then introduced to an assassin lady and she's just in a stairwell somewhere.
Yeah, so this is one of the rebels you're talking. Oh wait,
the lady
No,
with
she's
the
not a rebel.
brown hair.
Because her dad is the guy in the
teacher.
wheelchair.
Yeah, that's not revealed till later, but yeah.
Spoiler alert.
So she takes down the newscaster for some reason. They got it in for this guy because he was like revealing all their secrets or something.
Okay.
He's like, I was doing it ironically like RoboCop.
So that was weird. But yeah, so his friend Stu, he hacks into the games as they're happening to either warn him or try and like
next
give him
up
messages.
we go to a pioneer village.
Yeah.
Our hero is probably politically incorrectly dressed as an indigenous person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess it's the American Revolutionary War. They're fighting the British. Or?
Is that?
I'm not
I
sure.
think so.
Did you guys ever go to Pioneer Village? I went like a handful of times.
Black Creek.
Yeah.
Well, they're playing like Yankee Doodle Dandy, like on the
Yeah, they are.
soundtrack.
The music is so bad in this.
No, is it like they're fighting the British?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think those are. Well, I mean, I don't think they knew, guys. They're like these
They're
are the
like, "Who's here?"
these are
Here's
the
the
costumes
costumes
we
we've got.
have.
There's a shot of our hero jumping down the wall, and he like cuts a bunch of guys with some axes, and the camera pans over to reveal like the villain who looks exactly like the hero. So I'm like, wait, is this
Yeah.
a double dragon
Yeah,
situation?
I was very, very
Did he run around the camera?
Yeah, it's Valentine and Will look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they're always fighting each other.
Yeah.
And this sequence has a lot of like, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. For the rest of the hour left of this movie, stuff happening.
Yeah, it's pretty much all it is stuff happening. There is like one standout thing which is kind of fun. It's like Dietrich is hunting Will. Will runs into like the shed or something like that, and then
Oh yeah, and there's like
puts his outfit. He puts his outfit on a like straw dummy, and then
he's like, "Oh!"
Dietrich just runs in and shoots it. And then, by the way, the gunfights in this are so funny because they have these rifles, like these single shot rifles. So they have
Yes,
to
but he does like a John Woo dive with a single shot
slow mo
rifle.
with a single shot rifle. But every time they shoot, they have to like constantly fill up the gun again with
Yeah,
gun.
I like that. More of that.
Pack
I feel
it.
like the main
Realism.
guy, he seems to like have some martial arts. You see him doing kicks and stuff like that.
Yeah, few and far
Yeah.
between though.
Yeah.
He's clearly, I don't know, some guys have some kind of combat training, but
And there is a clever part where the villain is killed by a cannon.
Oh
Where
yeah,
he's like, oh, a
Yeah.
cannon. But then someone sticks a sword on his foot and he's like, oh. And he turns to the camera and goes, oh, well.
yeah, because death has no meaning unless you're
Yeah.
a prisoner.
This is the thing is that, like, if they had, like, they can't deliver on payoffs. Like, if it cut to, like, a body exploding, that'd be awesome. We'd love it.
it'd be great. But they
Yeah, but
they
no, it's just a flash.
Everything is done off camera, or it's
Or
just
they cut to stock footage
a
of
reaction, or you just hear like a sound effect. Or something
stock
like that.
footage of an explosion that
Yeah.
looked like it was from a different movie
Yeah,
because
it's-
it's so close up.
But right after the Pioneer Village sequence, we go into the, as Jim Wynorski would say, the cheapest special effect. Because now we're in medieval land, and there's a bunch of topless women running around being chased by medieval people,
They're, like,
including
pillaging.
one. This is what I previously mentioned, who does a little bit of martial arts against one of the guys.
Yeah, and very sped up, by the way.
Yes.
It's-
I can only assume that this is one of the prisoners who, in the reality of the movie, happened to know martial arts. So he's like, I don't care if I'm in medieval outfit. I'm going to, do kung fu or whatever.
Oh, you mean the woman that's doing it?
Was there a woman who does kung
Oh yeah,
fu?
the topless woman who like does a bunch of kicks.
Oh
to
yeah,
one
I
of
do.
the,
I
knights.
remember that too. She's giving it back. But no, there was a guy who did like a whole stance.
it was Valentine.
Well, you'll have to
think.
check the Cyber Vengeance Aggression movie guide, where go through the whole chronology and the lore. I'd probably explain it there.
Yeah.
It's like the Wikipedia, but for cyber.
Yes.
Cyberpedia.
Yeah, it's called Aggressionpedia, and it has all of the background of this movie
Absolute
and the spin-offs.
Aggression, by the way, is a terrible title. The title should have something to do with VR, right?
Well,
like,
they already did Cyber Vengeance. They're like, listen, we already
how about
used cyber.
like virtual prison or something?
Cyber aggression.
Yes. I don't know.
Virtual
Absolute-
aggression?
right, absolute cyber.
Oh, Absolute Cyber sounds cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Or maybe if you can add eosity to the end of it, that'd be cool. Absolute cyberosity.
Cyberosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maximum cyberosity.
I like that the hacker, he has like goggles, like VR goggles that are like the cheap ones you buy at Toys R Us that look like they just magnify your eyes.
Yeah, it's like the kind of fake like welding glasses or welding goggles.
Yeah, I will say one of the cooler effects
looking at my stamps.
is the one where he is like breaching the game and you see him like pulling the wall apart.
Real sliders effect.
It's cute
for
because
sure.
they obviously filmed him, pulling apart like curtains or something, but they made them look
he didn't have to pull apart curtains. He's an actor. He just pretended there was a cyber field he was breaking.
They couldn't afford curtains.
Oh,
on this movie.
you're probably right. But yeah, that was like something,
Yeah,
something.
it's pretty. Yeah, it's effective. I have to say, it's just as good as Time Cop.
I need to be clear that there's a lot of morphing in this movie as well, because in the 90s, people could not get enough of morphing thanks to T2. And I guess the black and white music video, is that the one? Michael
yeah,
Jackson?
that's right.
Black? Yeah, where he's morphing.
Yeah.
And like it would cost supposedly a lot of money if you wanted to do it, and was seen as a sign of production value.
Yeah.
Which,
Stargate
can I
did
just
it,
say,
too.
production value, overrated.
That's what this movie says.
Yeah, really.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the rest of the movie is just like stuff happening because like they break him out, but then like they introduce the female character, and then there's the other female character. This all kind of comes in like halfway through the movie.
Oh yeah, well you skipped over a funny scene where the other woman who's a bad guy is having sex.
Yeah,
with Valentine,
and she's like, "And I'm here to kill you." And the guy she's having sex is like, "Huh? What?" And then she fires, and she's topless, but she's also orgasming at the same time
because she got off on the murder. That's clearly
like,
what's
bang,
happening.
She's like, "Oh."
Yeah. So it turns out she's Dietrich's daughter, who's evil. But why did she have it out for Valentine?
I don't know.
It wasn't really fully explained, or maybe we just missed it.
Maybe he did Dietrich
because we got to make room for rappelling down.
Yeah, they rappel down for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so one of the rebels, the blonde woman's like, I'm going to rescue. So basically Stu breaks into the VR to let Will know, hey, we're going to rescue you. Here's the way out. And he tells him how to escape the facility. So they send these pulses through into the VR world.
Oh, yeah, that makes the people in the VR helmets be like, oh!
Yeah, so it kind of confuses Valentine and Dietrich and gives Will a chance to escape.
The hacker team is like, there's no way he could escape. He gets up, there's no guards anywhere. There's no one at all. Like, he just walks out, essentially.
Valentine confronts him and then has this like karate stance. And then one of the kids, some like noob that Will saves, has his neck broken. You think he's dead, but then he just grabs Valentine's foot.
And he's like, thanks, kid.
Yeah, and like freezes him.
Are you going to help me?
Like,
no, sorry, you're helping me.
Yeah, Valentine can't do anything. He's like, he cannot move because this kid is holding on to his ankle.
Yeah, so he escapes with blonde lady. Yeah, they rappel down, and then there's like this extended.
I have to say, I said that the breasts are the most cheapest special effect. No, the cheapest special effect are invisible walls, as you see when he's breaking out. He's like,
that.
I can't get out.
That was
pretending there's an invisible wall.
Well, that costs nothing. So
and then he grabs a chair and he throws it, and you hear it off screen.
like you hear a crash sound effect, but you don't see anything, do you?
It has some like sci-fi force field effect. It's like.
I don't even think there is.
No,
I think there's like a.
There's a sound effect.
Isn't
no
there
visual
like
effect.
one like visual effect of like a pane of glass like barely registering? I
don't remember. Maybe I was laughing too hard.
Hero escapes.
And then
he meets the classic. Oh, I meet a woman bathing in underneath a waterfall.
Yeah,
Justin, do not jump over their electrifying escape on an ATV.
Oh, you mean when they're slowly
endless.
getting away?
This thing is going so slow.
They have tanks and all kinds.
Isn't he
of
like
stuff.
smoking when he's doing it too?
Yeah, he is.
He has a cigar and he's lighting dynamite that he's throwing at all these tanks.
That's cool.
So this is where
I kind of like. I know that it's not all stock footage, but it feels like stock footage, which causes the disconnect when you're watching.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it completely looks like a different movie. I'm like, this is like a World War II
Yeah, because
movie.
if you look at Cyber Vengeance is actually shot with a much grainier stock. So if they're using footage from that, but it actually says like someone took the time in the IMDb of this movie to like list what is taken from where.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
And it's all for movies that they made.
Well, that makes sense, but it is from other movies.
Wait, why? If the other one's called Cyber Vengeance, why won't you call this one like Absolute Vengeance or something like that?
I
Doesn't that make sense?
think that they were actually supposed to be related.
Dunno.
Well, Robert Davi, I want to say Davi every time. Davi. He plays the same character.
So
interesting.
Some people think it's a sequel. Others think it's a remake.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, he had to fulfill a contract, but like sequels don't count.
Yeah, I mean,
just calls it a different
this
name.
feels like how Cameron Mitchell would be in multiple movies, essentially playing the same character.
Or maybe
it's all just shot in his
Richard
house.
Harrison syndrome.
That too.
Maybe like Cyber wasn't a hot name at
Do you
the
know
time.
they made I think there was a ruling passed because the producers of the Three Musketeers movies that Richard Lester did, they broke it into 2 movies and didn't pay them more.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you think it was a situation here where it was like one movie that they just
thing.
broke into 2?
No, I think it was probably like, hey, we can make another movie with some of the sets that we have. Robert Davi's about to leave. He's wearing his suit, but maybe we can
Come on,
stall him.
One more hour.
Stall him.
And
I mean,
here's some dialogue. Say it.
Robert,
The king of that is my hero, Fred Olen Ray, who was like John Carradine, shot scenes for like a movie he kind of vaguely thought he was gonna make. He's like, throw a cloak on him, put him in the corner, have him say a bunch of generic lines.
Oh,
and then
no.
John Carradine appeared in like 10 other Fred Olen Ray films. Some of them just to like smile and die.
Doesn't he do that in that like boob comedy? What is that called?
In the what?
The boob comedy where
I mean, there's many
which
a
one?
Fred Olen
Where
Ray
it's like
boob
a haunted
comedy.
house. We watched this movie. What the hell is it called?
Oh, Evil Tunes?
Yeah, Evil Tunes.
Yes, is John Carradine
He's
in
at
that
the
one?
beginning
That's
as
right.
like
No, David Carradine is.
sorry, David Carradine. Wrong.
And he
Carradine.
hangs himself.
Yes.
Well,
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even, do it pleasurably like he did when he went out on this real mortal coil. Anyway.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so, I mean, the rest of the movie is like, it's kind of like over, but then they're like, we got to take them down. So they devise a plan to like sneak in.
And like infect the VR.
Weren't
with
we just
virus.
here?
I know, and
We're
then
going back to
they
this
just
place
go
again?
back to the facility, do
go
some
back.
hacking. They rescue some people, and there's another big warehouse scene that kind of looks
Yeah,
like.
I think an issue, especially with this latter half, is like we've seen every trick. Well, except for one, we cannot skip over the best VR sequence, which is them in Top Gun.
Oh, my God.
that was
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
silly.
Oh, my God. So, yeah.
Because it's like they went to the air show and shot footage of planes flying around,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it cuts to them in a cockpit being like, whoa!
with just like a piece of blue behind them. That's the
Yes.
sky.
Yeah,
I mean, that's technically how, Tony Scott would have shot it as well. But there's a particular, like, fakiness to this that makes it extra special.
Yeah, there's no like shaky camera or anything
No,
like that.
the camera's not moving. It's very still.
Yeah, so they blow up the rebels blow up their own facility, and they're like, "Oh no, how are we going to put this virus in the VR system now?" And then Will is
say
like,
hello to Typhoid Mary.
"Yeah," he's like, "I've still got my VR chip on the
Great
back of my
line.
head, so infect that. I'll get captured, and then when Robert Davi puts me back into the VR, it'll automatically infect the system." This is a foolproof plan.
And yeah, that's basically what happens.
And it kinda works.
Nothing really interesting happens.
Yeah.
Like the evil girl captures the other girl and then puts her in a VR, but then she escapes and strangles her and okay.
Hey, you forgot that all the VR people all come together. So there's like tanks and...
Yeah, so the virus starts messing with the system, and then all the kind of timelines kind of merge. So there's
It's so funny that Robert Davi never gets out of that chair that he's in for the entire
he does
movie.
at the end, at the very end.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
He walks off
When he's
screen.
leaving to go get his taxi to the airport.
That's what
Yeah.
people,
But
It's like, Robert Davi's leaving. He's leaving. I just heard a story on a podcast that someone said that they shot a Funny or Die video with Robert Davi, and he was the most lecherous person they ever worked. They hit on multiple women on set.
Oh, I can believe
It's
it.
not surprising.
But I will say he's great at this. He has that gravitas.
He does his thing.
He does his thing, which is great.
What's the best Robert Davi movie? Maniac Cop 2?
Showgirls. I was thinking Maniac Cop, actually. He's good in
He's
that.
kind of the star of Maniac Cop 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great in that. And
He's only in Showgirls for a couple scenes.
but he's
so
so scummy in Showgirls.
Scummy.
I know. Again,
he's
they
so
knew what
scummy
they
in
were
all the
doing.
movies that he's in. It kind of feels they're just turn the camera on. And
Yeah.
we'll just get him.
Exactly.
People have said that they've been tired of me calling films bowfingers, but I'm never gonna stop. I love saying it.
What is that when you just roll?
When you just film when someone's crossing the street and you film them and they don't know they're in the movie.
Well, it's not your fault, Justin, that a lot of movies feel like that.
Like they're bowfingers, yeah. And there's no other point of reference that's as funny as that one, I think.
No.
That's
I'm
his
looking here-
mainstream funny.
Robert Davi, where did he get? I think he was the villain in. Oh, he was in The Goonies. I think that's.
Oh yeah, he was the opera singing guy.
His first role is in the ill-fated City Heat, which is Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds together at last. And then in the Goonies, he's one of the brothers. I mean, he was like born to play villain, so he's also like in Action Jackson, Raw Deal. Oh, he's one of the FBI agents in Die Hard.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But very small.
The helicopter
role.
guys.
Yeah, he's never like. They never made him a starring guy.
No, but he's just one of those like go-to guys. It's like, okay, we need a scumbag, like bad guy.
Yeah, although doesn't he play a cop in Maniac Cop 2?
He's a hero in Maniac Cop 2.
Is that it? Yeah.
But even
although he's not the titular character.
Even his role in like Showgirls, he's supposed to be this kindly kind of father figure, but he does it in the most like scumbag Robert Davi way.
Yes,
I mean,
but that's in the script.
Yeah.
It's not like Robert Davi decided to say all those things, although maybe he did.
Maybe
Robert Davi's like, I'm actually a nice man. Oh, wait, why are you looking me up on Google? Don't do that. Oh, no.
But yeah, like he's barely in this, but he's there.
We got to do he's the villain in the straight-faced Shannon Tweed Die Hard at a Miss Galaxy competition where the villains are Andrew Dice Clay, Robert Davi, and Roddy Piper.
Oh, wow. Sign me up.
What was that called
Directed
again?
by Canada's own Paul Lynch, director of Prom Night and Humongous, the one about the giant baby man.
What is this movie called? The Robert
It's called
Davi?
No Contest.
No Contest.
That's right. Yeah.
So good. I think there was a No Contest, too. I'm going to make sure here. But I don't think they got the... there is a No Contest. And they're like, we can't get the other character actors we got. What are their equivalents? Lance Henriksen, Bruce Payne. They're like, yeah, good enough. Get me the most pock-marked character actors you got out
Lance
there.
Henriksen, he's got like a...
Oh, Edward James Olmos.
Oh,
wrinkles.
yeah.
We need wrinkles. Have you guys ever seen the trailer for The Incredible Ice Cream Suit?
Yes.
It's Stuart Gordon. And it's the best trailer because it does my favorite trailer move. Starring Edward James Olmos and Edward James Olmos.
I don't know what VHS I had growing up, but that trailer was on it.
That was on it?
So I saw it all the time. I have no idea. Maybe... I'm trying to think, like, what VHSs did I have? Maybe Men in Black? I don't know.
No, that was not, because Incredible Ice Cream Suit was like a direct-to-video film. So
I know, but I've seen that trailer so many times.
Now, would you watch it? Would you be like, yes, every time it would come on?
I think I was like, what the fuck is this movie? But I've never actually seen the movie.
Wait, is it not incredible? I'm looking right now. Ice Cream Suit. the wonderful Ice Cream Suit. How dare I get it right?
Suit.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah, Edward James Olmos and Joe Montana and Clifton Collin Jr. and Sid Caesar.
And he's someone Gonzalez. Like their name is Gonzalez.
You know
twice.
What? Maybe this was it maybe like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? I think this may have been a Touchstone or
I don't know.
Let's see here. Because this may have been I am correct. It was a Walt Disney Picture release.
Oh my God.
So maybe it was,
on
because
some Disney
I think
movie.
what happened was they were supposed to direct Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Well, Brian Usna
was going to produce it.
Worked on it.
And I think, that would have been a long, because that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out in 1989. That's unbelievable.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Anyway,
we should wrap up this movie. So basically, they blow up the facility. Everybody dies. Robert Davi's like, I gotta go because this building's gonna explode.
He just kind of like shocks the bad guy into unconsciousness and then leaves.
Walks off camera. And then we never see him again.
No.
And I already mentioned how Dietrich dies. He's right in front of the young lady, and she can't shoot him for some reason. She's like shooting all around him. And then he jumps off a building, and we hear him fall, but we don't see him fall.
He's like, I would never give you the pleasure of killing me yourself. And he just jumps off.
Yeah, and then the movie's over. It ends like really fast after that.
Yeah, but man, that third act just drags.
I mean,
you know what? Instead of watching this movie, which thank you for recommending it, I had a lot of fun talking about it. The filmography of one Jahal Mary will deliver cyber. Some of them like Expect No Mercy and TC 2000, but also so many explosions.
Yeah,
and like martial arts fights, and those movies have the goods.
Yeah,
this one unfortunately doesn't have it.
Billy Blanks is actually like competent.
Mirhi's movies have charm.
They're more entertaining. Yeah, I did find TT 2000 to be kind of like the empty warehouse
Yes.
type movie. It was like
Tiger Claws is pretty good.
yeah, Expecto Mercy was really fun.
Listen, we're grading on a curve here.
Yeah,
Colin, so.
but I haven't said my favorite thing. My favorite thing is the song during the end credits. It is like nothing else in the movie. It is straight out of a 1990s Sega Genesis game, and it's very, very fun. It's my type of music.
Robert Davi's like end credits are so funny because the last one is him like up against a black background turning around like he was in like a weird detective show that played on like 2 p.m. on the USA Network.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Davi's
I wonder if
detective
Robert Davi,
series.
they ever gave him like a McGallagher or something like that.
No, he'd just be his own name, like Davi.
Davi.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. Or it's like Sinatra. He did play Frank Sinatra in Reagan, the movie that came out.
Oh, my
recently.
God. Did he really?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, wait.
God.
Or was
The
it...
new Reagan?
Yeah, maybe. No, you know what? I don't think he did because the guy who played Sinatra was someone really... I think it was Scott Stapp from Creed, the lead singer
Oh, my
of Creed.
God.
What?
But he was only in the background. Like, people got really excited.
That he was playing Frank
Scott
Sinatra?
Stapp, the lead vocalist of Creed, played Sinatra, I think, in Reagan. And unfortunately,
Sounds
people were
insane.
like, "Oh, he doesn't have a big role. He's just like in the background of a scene."
So it was really just like as a favor to him. Like,
I
hey,
mean-
want
I
to
mean,
be in the background?
That's how you
But-
bankroll the movie. The lead singer of Creed, yes, please. God, that's a reference unless you're exactly our age. You're like, huh?
Yeah,
What?
like I know who Scott Stapp.
With eyes wide open. Is that one of their songs?
I
Yeah.
think it's more like...
The
When did people decide that's how we sing in like 2000? Everybody sings
Pearl
like
Jam.
this.
people say Pearl Jam was this first, and then
Yeah,
Creed
Pearl Jam.
perfected it. But the trainer at my gym
My
always plays this one
sacrifice.
Creed song. Like, what the fuck? Not that one. It's the one where it's like, I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm sinking.
That's a good Creed.
No, it wasn't. Okay, the movie's over. So this movie, it's on Tubi, folks, and it certainly feels like a Tubi movie. But yeah, so it's free out there if you want to watch it. I wouldn't really recommend it. There are some funny things that happen. I feel like we say this a lot lately, but it's like a put on in the background movie. It's not really fun enough to really engage with.
Yeah,
there's some silly things in it to be like, what the fuck? But
You can really feel the budget. Like,
Yeah.
oh boy.
Guys, could someone recommend like a listener Creed live, their live concert film of 2009? The performance broke the world record for the most cameras, 239 used at a live concert event.
What?
Because you needed that many
Whoa.
cameras to capture the charisma happening on stage.
Well, hey, they were a huge deal.
Were they counting like the?
2009?
Were they counting
Isn't
the
that a little
200 people
old?
in the audience?
Yeah, 2009, they were being made fun of.
Yeah, they were
You know.
done.
But I don't know. Anyway.
Oh yeah, so put on Creed live in the background as well as Absolute Aggression.
Yeah.
Do like a what is it called? The Dark Side of Oz situation.
Yeah.
See how it lines up.
But yeah, thank you for the recommendation from Patrick. I think that was.
Oh yeah. Oh, my favorite thing. Robert Davi.
Just Robert Davi
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Yeah, he's
A
good.
good man, as Colin continually
yeah,
said before we
Brings
started
the
recording.
goods, man.
Yeah, but thank you for the recommendation. And if you want to, if you would like to be put in our lottery to pick a movie, possibly. Oh God, I can't
is
talk.
like- yeah.
You okay?
I can't remember what I'm supposed to say.
You put library
Yeah.
possibly.
Join the Patreon. If you're on the $2 level, you get submitted every time that we do one of these, which is every 6 episodes or so. So you could win, and you could pick a main episode. If you want to email the podcast, we're on nosuchthingasabadmovie@gmail.com. We're on X. We're on Bluesky, Twitter, and Instagram at nosuchthingpod.
We're also on YouTube. If you're at a job that you can't listen to podcasts, but you can somehow watch YouTube videos with earphones on.
Yep, all our
That's what it's
podcast
for.
episodes are on YouTube,
Because
and
people are always like, put it on YouTube. And that must be the reason, right? Like they only have access to YouTube.
some people just listen to podcasts on YouTube. Yeah, and if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at April at Mansky.
You can follow me on Bluesky. My name's Justin Decloux, DCLOUX. I'm also on Letterboxd. And also I have other podcasts like the Important Cinema Club, the Very Fine Comic Book Podcast, and the Base 3 Video Podcast. I'm like, what's my other podcast? There you go.
So many podcasts.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Bluesky.
Still not
Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA.
Okay, that's it. We did it, you guys. We made it to 2025.
Oh shit, are we in VR right now?
Oh no, it's Robert
We're in the
Davi.
simulation.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of blinked and 2024 ended, so...
Oh, nothing happened in 2024, I feel. I mean, I had a baby, but...
but
it
that's
was all build up.
That's nothing. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. I'm April at Mansky.
I'm Justin Decloux.
I'm Colin Cunningham.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie.